How an area school district is handling recent changes to CDC guidelines.
The FDA issues a new vaccine warning as the White House scrambles to get more shots in arms. I'm David Lee Miller in New York. The details coming up.
A new report on the economy shows another jump in consumer prices.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. One of 2 people injured when a motorcycle hit a deer in southwest Missouri has died of her injuries. Crash happened Sunday evening on Gum Road in north of Reeds, Missouri. Authorities say a passenger on the motorcycle, 26-year-old Taylor Bass of Reeds, has died. At last report, the motorcycle driver, 29-year-old Isaac Freeland of Reeds, was in serious condition. Doug Henny joining us now. Plenty of sunshine today, Doug.
Yeah, it turned out to be a pretty good Tuesday for us today. Temperatures quite a bit warmer than what we've seen over the past couple days, but not bad. 87, great start, 62 during the morning hours, and really nothing is going on. We've had pretty much clear skies all day long into the evening hours, and I think that's going to be the case as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Here's our next storm system. This will start to affect us Thursday night, giving us chances for showers and thunderstorms, but until then, I think we look pretty good as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Temperatures dropping back upper 60s, but pretty good rain chances. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
Doug, thank you. Crawford County Health and Ascension Via Christi Hospital officials today held a press conference at Pitt State. Officials say the county is seeing its 4th major spike in COVID-19 cases since this whole pandemic began. The vast majority of those new cases, along with every recent death, are people who have not been vaccinated, according to health officials. Health officials reiterate that the vaccines are safe and recommended.
If we are going to see breakthrough cases where someone's fully vaccinated and still gets COVID, that is not a vaccine failure. If they stay out of the hospital, that's a vaccine success story. And so I think that's what we need to reiterate to people.
Just under 50% of the county's population has received at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Area schools are facing some tough decisions about how to respond to CDC guidance for students returning to the classroom. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with the Carthage School District to find out how they're approaching things.
With vaccines readily available for anyone 12 and over, the CDC is relaxing its COVID-19 guidelines. Recently, the Public Health Agency announced that fully vaccinated students and teachers can return to the classroom this fall, mask-free. For those unvaccinated,
well, I think CDC and local health departments recommend that the unvaccinated students and teachers continue to wear a mask.
Local school districts like Carthage schools are using this new guidance to promote health in their community.
We will promote vaccinations. We'll tell our staff, our students, our parents, community members, if you are vaccinated, you will not be quarantined, and that's the bottom line.
As for how things will be different in the fall,
they do not have to wear their mask if they're vaccinated, and they will not be quarantined if they're vaccinated.
For unvaccinated students, the district won't require masks, but if they don't wear a mask and come into contact with someone testing positive, they will be quarantined. Should case numbers increase, this plan could change.
Now, if something changes in our society, in our local area, that all of a sudden a variant or another variant is spreading to where kids are positive, our staff positive, we might have to make some changes to our plan.
Which is why the district plans to work closely with the health department to stay on top of cases.
Really what matters the most for us is what's happening in our community.
If we have quarantined people out in the county, then we quarantine them and provide information to the schools about who we have under quarantine or isolation at a given time.
It's still a bit early to know exactly how different schools will operate by August, but Carthage Schools says they plan on following the numbers. In Carthage, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
Carthage students are going to return to school on August 23rd. Freeman Health System today hosted a back-to-school COVID-19 vaccination clinic. Clinic was available for children ages 12 and older. The FDA has cleared the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines for use in that age range. Parents did need to be present, however, for a juvenile to get the vaccine.
In the area that I work in, we see COVID all day, every day, and we're seeing the numbers really increase. And since they made it so the kids could get the shots, they've decreased the age, then I decided to get them vaccinated.
Second doses of the vaccine will be given out on August 11th. Johnson & Johnson says it's cooperating with federal health officials after the FDA issued a new warning about its COVID-19 vaccine and a possible link to a rare nerve disorder. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more now from New York.
It's another possible setback for the vaccination effort. The FDA announcing Monday they've discovered a link between Johnson & Johnson's COVID-19 vaccine and Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare autoimmune nerve disorder that affects muscle movement. About 100 cases have been reported so far, prompting the FDA to issue a warning. But those 100 cases are among more than 12.5 million who got the Johnson shot. And most doctors say there's no reason for folks to be afraid.
What I really don't want to have happen here is that this contributes to already the vaccine hesitancy problem we have in the United States at a time when the Delta variant is emerging.
And the Delta variant is spreading more quickly than anticipated, prompting a big surge in new COVID cases, which have more than doubled over the past 2 weeks. The daily average is now back up to 23,000. At the end of June, it was about 11,000. Some public health experts are also warning of even more deadly and contagious strains as vaccination rates slow down.
So what we have right now is a situation in which we could be brewing even more dangerous variants of concern, and that is mostly happening in communities that are under-vaccinated.
The White House continuing its push to get shots in arms, with only about 48% of Americans fully vaccinated, and hospitals warning they're feeling the strain.
It's very, very frustrating to many healthcare workers that they're now taking care of patients that have a preventable condition.
The FDA says there have been no reports linking Guillain-Barré syndrome with the Moderna or Pfizer vaccines. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
New economic numbers out today show another surge in consumer prices, the biggest in 13 years. The administration argues it's temporary, but critics say it's a trend and not a blip. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports now from Washington.
The federal government just confirmed what anyone who's bought groceries or a tank of gas could already tell you. Prices are spiraling up.
I think it's highway robbery. Prices are ridiculous right now.
Numbers out Tuesday show prices in June increased for the third straight month, rising 0.9% over May. That's a 5.4% leap over 12 months, the largest yearly inflation rise since 2008.
A month or two ago, I was looking at this potentially being transitory, but this is 3 months in a row, and I looked at 3 months as being a trend.
Used cars and trucks are the main drivers of the surge, jumping a record-breaking 45.2% in a year. A semiconductor shortage has held back new car production, plus rental car companies are trying to restock after dumping their inventory during the pandemic. Heather Boucher, a member of President Biden's Council of Economic Advisors, pointed out in a tweet, without cars and pandemic-related services, June's monthly inflation was 0.2%. Federal Reserve leadership has maintained the jump in inflation is temporary as the economy roars back from the pandemic. But it could increase criticism of the White House push for a reconciliation bill that spends billions on what the president calls human infrastructure.
What Democrats say they want to force through this summer through reconciliation would make our current inflationary mess look like small potatoes.
Lawmakers want to know what comes next. They'll get a chance to ask the head of the Federal Reserve when he testifies on Wednesday and Thursday. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Shane Runenbaum serves in the U.S. Air Force. He joined back in 2016, and we are proud to thank and salute Shane Runenbaum, a native of Carl Junction, Missouri. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Heddy's up next with a complete look at the forecast, and later a Southeast Kansas standout talking about his unique basketball journey after high school. Going to have the story in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a hotter Tuesday for us today, but still wasn't a bad day as our temperatures, they climbed into the upper 80s. The humidity, not too bad, but kind of starting to creep back up there, and that's what we're going to see the next couple days. Great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures yesterday, also on Sunday, only into the upper 70s. Today we climbed into the 80s. For highs, upper 80s for highs, but at least right now it's not too bad. Most of us are sitting upper 70s to lower 80s, and it looks like as we work through the rest of the evening hours, our temperatures will eventually drop back into the upper 60s later on tonight. Dew points, this is our humidity, kind of high, upper 60s to near 70, puts us in that sticky to muggy range, and we're going to see that next couple days. Outside, looking northwest, 79. Feels like 81. Humidity is at 66%, but nothing is going on. The radar is clear. Anything you do see on the radar is just a little bit of ground clutter that is popping up. Had a couple storms out across central Kansas. Those will not make it here, but this is kind of our next wave out across southern parts of Utah. And this will sweep out and start to affect us by the time we head into late Thursday and then really lasting into the weekend. But until then, we look okay. Tonight, south winds. We drop back upper 60s to near 70. We start to heat things back up a little bit more for us tomorrow. I think we're going to get above 90. 68 to start, 86 by noon, high temp right around 91 during the afternoon. Tomorrow night looks okay. We are going to get some clouds in here, and then as we go into Thursday, majority of the day's dry, but late in the day we'll start to see some thunderstorms in our northwestern counties getting going. Here's 4 p.m. These will increase Thursday evening into Thursday night. Some of these could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe. We do have a heavy rain threat as these work through. So periods of showers, thunderstorms. So here's Friday morning, and we're going to see these batches kind of sticking around on and off all the way into the weekend. We'll get another batch Friday night into Saturday, and then we can look at Saturday afternoon, some pop-up thunderstorms. These aren't rain out events, but we're going to have these showers and thunderstorms kind of sticking around all the way into the weekend. We'll most likely get some that pop up in the afternoon, get a batch overnight, and then we get a break during the day, and then it does it again. But you can see this trend continues. We're going to stop at Monday. Also, rainfall could be somewhat heavy. A lot of areas could pick up 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of rain from about Thursday into Sunday. So that is something we want to keep our eyes on. All right, 91 tomorrow, 91 on Thursday, 87 on Friday. Holding into the upper 80s over the weekend, but those chances for showers and thunderstorms. Jordan?
All right, Doug, thanks again so much. Coming up, voting rights.
A day after Texas lawmakers fly to D.C. to dodge a vote on the state's new election law, President Biden flies to Philadelphia to take up the fight over voting rights. I'm Madeline Rivera in Washington with a battle over the ballot box coming up.
A parade of earnings reports kicking off today with reports from J.P. Morgan Chase. Our nation's biggest bank says profit more than doubled to nearly $12 billion. Credit card spending increased on categories like travel and entertainment, but people are paying down their debt quickly. Sam's Club is trying out a new feature that lets customers scan and ship bulky items. The discount chain is going to allow customers to scan big ticket purchases like mattresses and widescreen TVs and have them shipped home. Delivery date and time is expected to take 3 to 5 business days. Carnival Cruise Line announced that passengers sailing from Florida home ports who are not vaccinated against COVID-19 are going to be required to have travel insurance. In addition, the passengers will also have to pay an extra $150 fee for COVID-19 testing. All this in response to the Florida law, which took effect back on July 1st, fining companies $5,000 if they require passengers to show proof of vaccination. The travel insurance policy, though, is only for Florida-based ships and does not go into effect until July 31st. The insurance requirement does not apply for children, by the way. President Biden is slamming the enactment of new voting laws in Republican-led states. The president is facing growing pressure on the issue as Texas Democrats camp out in the nation's capital after fleeing their Lone Star state to stop a new election bill from moving forward. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more on the debate in Washington.
Some things in America should be simple and straightforward. The most fundamental of those things is the right to vote.
President Biden is laying out the moral case for voting rights. His administration worried about the growing number of states that have introduced new voting bills. At least 17 so far have enacted laws tightening voting rules. The president's comments come amid the latest showdown in Texas.
The 21st century Jim Crow assault is real. It's unrelenting, and we're going to challenge it vigorously.
On Monday, a group of Texas Democrats hopped on private planes bound for Washington. They say they intend to stay for weeks in order to kill a state election law that Republicans have supported.
This is a bill about verification of signatures in the mail and allowing people who mail in their ballots to track their mail-in ballots.
Without enough members, the State House can't do business, but the group says they have a bigger goal: to pressure Congress to pass federal legislation on voting rights. Last month, a Democrat-backed election overhaul bill was blocked in the Senate. Still, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the fight isn't over.
The vote represented the starting gun, not the finish line, in the fight to protecting voting rights.
Senator Schumer hasn't nailed down a date for a vote on voting rights, but it's part of a growing list of items in addition to police reform and infrastructure that Democrats hope to address before August recess. In Washington, Mallory Rivera, Fox News.
Next, we've all seen some pretty unique hotels, right? Going to visit Colorado, though, to look at a new shipping container hotel. Rich in fermented foods such as yogurt increases the diversity of microbes in the gut and lowers inflammation. That's according to a study from Stanford University. Previous research has linked low microbe diversity to obesity, also diabetes. A new study says adding in more omega-3 fats to your diet and taking out some omega-6 fats may help you with headaches. Omega-3 is often found in fish or some nuts, while omega-6 is often found in different seeds, peanut butter, and oils in processed foods. The National Institute of Aging found diet changes worked as well for headache reductions as medicine preventatives. Two Colorado entrepreneurs are opening up a unique hotel. It's got people staying inside shipping containers. The idea is to let people get used to the idea of living inside one. Fox's Brandon Thompson has this story.
Opening the door for a new way of living.
Think of it more like a starter home than a tiny home.
By housing creativity.
This is basically a starter pod of a home, so that the next generation can gain equity inside of their home.
Inside these shipping containers.
Completely built out, finished, walls in. That includes heating, cooling, all your plumbing, standard fixtures, and all of that.
Has everything but the space.
And that's 192 square feet. And for a lot of people, that is enough, and for many others, it's not enough. This is one idea and one option.
The idea is giving buyers options.
If you wanted to go with things like granite countertops and some of the more luxurious amenities, they could be added.
The Industrial Hotel in Florence is a space to try before you buy. Then it's customized with Reed and his business partners before being shipped to become a new home.
There's no limit to how far one of these could ship. All the containers that you're looking at here have already been back and forth across the Pacific.
With walls made from recycled plastic.
We used almost entirely recycled materials and second used or third used building materials. Really gives us a unique design aesthetic.
It's sustainable.
All that stuff was plastic that's no longer in a landfill.
They've made it livable.
We have high-speed internet here.
And an affordable space starting around $50,000.
What we've taken here is retired shipping containers and repurposed them into a place where we can house people, some by choice, some by need. You know, we have a dramatic issue right now inside of housing and sustainable solutions, and this is, like I said, this is one viable option.
Pretty unique, huh? All right, coming up, the largest astronomy museum opening this week. The design of this museum also one of a kind. New Shanghai museum opening this week is out of this world. The Shanghai Astronomy Museum is a 420,000 square foot building, the largest astronomy museum in the world now. It features exhibits, a planetarium, an observatory, and a 78-foot tall solar telescope. The unique building was designed to reflect the geometry of the cosmos. There are no right angles or straight lines. Take a good look at that. The structure is formed by 3 overlapping arcs, demonstrating that everything in the universe is always moving. Everything has a purpose in that building. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports. Coming away, Joplin area businesses are recognized for their commitment to creating a more diverse and inclusive community.
Protests over the situation in Cuba spilling over into South Florida. I'm Phil Keating in Little Havana in Miami with the story coming up.
A number of Joplin area businesses say they're committed to creating a more diverse, welcoming, and inclusive community. And they were recognized at a news conference today. The Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce and its Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Work Group today formally announced the launch of its Joplin Leadership Pledge. But dozens of companies and groups have already signed that pledge. The EDI group says the goal is to ensure that companies and individuals create cultures that welcome and support everyone.
These individuals work in our businesses, and right now talent attraction is a challenge for many businesses in our community. We want to make sure we have a community where everyone feels like they belong.
To learn more or to sign that pledge, visit choosejoplin.com/pledge. A group of campers in Joplin are learning how to be lifeguards, and as KOAM photojournalist Ty Parks shows us, for one camper, it's a family tradition.
Because that was my mom's first job, and I really like lifeguarding and swimming, and I would love to learn how to safely save someone out of the water.
Just like a foot in the door of how to be trained as a lifeguard, so that way when they become old enough, when they're 15, if they want to actually be a lifeguard, then they kind of already know a lot of this stuff.
So get your arms more under the He doesn't have his whistle on. Alright, on your mark. Good job. Okay. Alright, you guys can swim. You don't have to get all the way.
To learn how to do better swimming and learn stuff like that, because I go to the lake a lot, so I can save someone if they're drowning or something like that. It'll make me feel better because I'm scared that I'm not going to accomplish being a lifeguard, because it's a while, it's in about 5 years, so it's a long ways away, but it's also exciting knowing that I could accomplish that.
Good job, guys. Camp runs through the rest of this week. Registration is $100, and campers must, of course, be strong swimmers. Young Lego fans have a chance to get their creations put on display in Fort Scott, Kansas. The Museum of Creativity is testing out a Lego club. Kids ages 10 to 18 are able to participate and build according to a theme. Top 3 builds from each week's session is going to be displayed in the museum.
I'm learning from them too. They do something and I'm like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I mean, that happens when I'm teaching crafts too. Someone will do it a certain way and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I'm learning too, I learn from them. We all think differently, and we all create, a society where we can help each other and learn and grow.
The museum is using this session as a test to gauge community interest in the Lego Club. A new hardware store and jobs are coming to Frontenac, Kansas. The Harbor Freight Tools chain says it expects to open a store at 1007 North Highway 69 late this summer, but has not given an official date. Construction is underway. The company says the store is going to bring 25 to 30 new jobs. Harbor Freight currently has more than 1,200 stores nationwide. The Treasury Department is expected to begin making a series of monthly payments to families with children in the coming days. Most families will be receiving up to $300 a month per child. Experts believe the payments will slash child poverty almost in half. The program, which was created as part of the Democrat-passed stimulus bill, expires in a year. However, it seems not everyone is on board with the tax credit. Opponents of the effort say they are concerned about delivery issues, also fear that some families may lose the desire to work given the new source of income. A deadly fire swept through a hospital in Iraq, killing patients being treated for the COVID-19 virus. At least 92 people died and more than 100 are injured. Authorities say an oxygen canister exploded, sparking the fire that trapped COVID patients in the hospital, which medics say didn't even have a fire alarm. This is the second time, though, it's happened in Iraq. 3 months ago, an oxygen tank blew up in the COVID-19 ward of a hospital in Baghdad, killing 82 people. Streets are quiet in Cuba after widespread demonstrations this past weekend. But here in the United States, those with links to the island are keeping the protest alive, demanding the Cuban regime step down amid a lack of food, water, and other basic necessities for Cuba's people. Fox News correspondent Phil Keating has the latest.
Police in Cuba stepping up patrols this week, trying to restore order after widespread protests over the weekend, largely due to a lack of food on the island and communist nation.
There is no food, there is nothing, and it hurts because there are people who need it.
Cuba is in the midst of an economic crisis exacerbated by the pandemic, U.S. trade embargo, and economic sanctions imposed by the Trump administration. The unrest, one of the largest demonstrations seen in decades, drawing a response from the White House on Monday.
The Cuban people demanding their freedom from an authoritarian regime. And I don't think we've seen anything like this protest in a long, long time.
The protests are drawing a show of solidarity from Cuban Americans here in Florida, many calling for an end to the regime, saying the Cuban people are being pushed to the brink.
They don't do anything for their people. They just take everybody's money.
Clean drinking water to electricity to food, air conditioner, and basic medical needs, are absent. These people don't have what they need.
Others blame the decades-long U.S. trade embargo on the island for the current situation.
It's the fault of the United States government not allowing ships carrying those things allowed into the harbors of Cuba.
Internet service and social media on the island of Cuba largely unavailable the past 2 days after the government shut it down. The president of Cuba blames social media for triggering Sunday's demonstrations. In Miami's Little Havana, Phil Keating, Fox News.
A bit later, sharks. And no, we're not talking about Shark Week on TV.
Jaws may have some company. I'm Marianne Rafferty in Los Angeles with more on how the increase in shark sightings along the east and west coast is causing some concerns. Straight ahead.
Well, it turned out to be a hotter Tuesday for us today, but still wasn't a bad day as our temperatures, they climbed into the upper 80s. The humidity, not too bad, but kind of starting to creep back up there, and that's what we're going to see the next couple days. Great time lapse. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo's just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temperatures yesterday, also on Sunday, only into the upper 70s. Today we climbed into the 80s for highs, upper 80s for highs. But at least right now, it's not too bad. Most of us are sitting upper 70s to lower 80s, and it looks like as we work through the rest of the evening hours, our temperatures will eventually drop back into the upper 60s later on tonight. Dew points, this is our humidity, kind of high, upper 60s to near 70, puts us in that sticky to muggy range, and we're going to see that next couple days. Outside, looking northwest, 79, feels like 81, humidity is at 66%. But nothing is going on. The radar is clear. Anything you do see on the radar is just a little bit of ground clutter that is popping up. Had a couple storms out across central Kansas. Those will not make it here, but this is kind of our next wave out across southern parts of Utah. And this will sweep out and start to affect us by the time we head into late Thursday and then really lasting into the weekend. But until then, we look okay. Tonight, south winds. We drop back upper 60s to near 70. We start to heat things back up a little bit more for us tomorrow. I think we're going to get above 90. 68 to start, 86 by noon, high temp right around 91 during the afternoon. Tomorrow night looks okay. We are going to get some clouds in here, and then as we go into Thursday, majority of the day's dry, but late in the day we'll start to see some thunderstorms in our northwestern counties getting going. Here's 4 p.m. These will increase Thursday evening into Thursday night. Some of these could be strong, maybe even low-grade severe. We do have a heavy rain threat as these work through, so periods of showers, thunderstorms. So here's Friday morning, and we're going to see these batches kind of sticking around on and off all the way into the weekend. We'll get another batch Friday night into Saturday, and then we can look at Saturday afternoon, some pop-up thunderstorms. These aren't rain out events, but we're going to have these showers and thunderstorms kind of sticking around all the way into the weekend. We'll most likely get some that pop up in the afternoon, get a batch overnight, and then we get a break during the day, and then it does it again. But you can see this trend continues. We're going to stop at Monday. Also, rainfall could be somewhat heavy. A lot of areas could pick up 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 inches of rain from about Thursday into Sunday. So that is something we want to keep our eyes on. All right, 91 tomorrow, 91 on Thursday, 87 on Friday. Holding into the upper 80s over the weekend, but those chances for showers and thunderstorms. Jordan?
All right, Doug, thanks so much again. Coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws aiming for revenge against the Nevada Griffins. Also, former Pitt State standout Marquis English following his unique basketball path back to Butler County. Jacob Leonard has that story and more next.
The Joplin Outlaws are off to a bit of a slow start to the second half of the season. The Outlaws are 1-3 since the All-Star break, including a 4-0 shutout loss to the Nevada Griffins last night. Now tonight, Joplin faces Nevada again, this time at their place. That one is final. Griffins win again, 4-3. Nevada now 7-0 in league play against Joplin this summer. Kansas City Royals catcher Salvador Perez made a little history in the MLB Home Run Derby last night. Now Perez did not win it, but he did hit 28 homers in the first round. It's the most home runs for a catcher in the history of the Home Run Derby. That was a good night for Salvi, but in the end, it was the Mets' Pete Alonso taking home the title. Alonso hit 74 total home runs last night, capturing his second straight Home Run Derby championship.
I'm a power hitter, and for me, I think I'm the best power hitter on the planet. And being able to showcase that and really put on a fun display for fans, I just think that it's truly a dream come true for me to be able to do it back to back. This is really special for me and really, really cool.
Well, former Pittsburgh standout Marquis English has had a unique basketball journey after high school. He's played 3 different places in 3 years and still has 3 years of eligibility remaining. We caught up with English today to talk about his journey and what's next for the former 5A Player of the Year. Marquis English is headed back to Butler County.
That home environment, being able to play basketball and do what I love to do, I just think it was the best move for me to go back to Butler. I was there for a year previously, and we went to the conference championship, and just to go back there and play basketball with Coach Fisher and the guys, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. This spot is killing us.
His basketball journey has had multiple stops since graduating from Pittsburgh High in 2018. The former 5A Player of the Year signed to Linkier Prep out of high school, reclassifying to 2019. After a year, he made his first stop at Butler County in 2020 before heading to northern Colorado, where he was able to get Division I experience.
We traveled a lot on the West Coast, Arizona, Montana, Utah. Just being able to be at that level and see everything is definitely something that was a really good experience.
English still has 3 years of eligibility, but is not thinking about what's after Butler.
Right now, I really just want to go play and go win a national tournament there at Butler. And then whatever comes from it, really, I just want to be able to play basketball.
In the meantime, he's working out in Pittsburgh, coaching, and using his experience to help younger players.
Mid-range Joey, hey, threes. I've been coaching out with Victory Ministries, and one of the things we preach to the boys is trying to get 1% better each day. Good shot, next spot. That's my main thing, is I want to be able to be a role model for them, to show them that no matter where you start at, no matter where you end at, as long as you get better 1% each day, that eventually you're going to be able to make your goals.
In the 2019-2020 season, English posted 11 points and 6 rebounds per game at Butler, starting 33 of 34 games for the Grizzlies. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
The number of shark attacks around the world was down for the 3rd year in a row back in 2020. But so far, experts say shark sightings here in the United States is up in 2021. Fox News correspondent Marianne Rafferty has more on the type of sharks swarming the east and west coasts and what could be causing them to swim closer to those shores.
Everybody freaks out, yeah. Why? Well, because it's a shark.
Summer is in full swing, but as folks along the east and west coasts are flocking to the beaches, experts are reporting an increase in the number of shark sightings.
We know that there are quite a few juvenile white sharks that we've seen, many of which that we've tagged.
Off the shores of Southern California, scientists are using special tracking devices to monitor the activity of these predatory fish. They say so far they've noticed a larger concentration of younger great white sharks swimming closer to the shore, with at least 6 spotted Saturday alone.
You see juveniles here every year starting late spring, early summer. We think that is mostly due to either abundance of food, water temperature, or safety, or a mixture of all 3 or 2.
Meanwhile, further north near San Francisco, a surfer was bit in the leg by a great white roughly 2 weeks ago.
It was only 1 bite. There were about 10 lacerations to the back of the right thigh. A shark can attack, very close to the beach.
But in an effort to help keep people safe, researchers say it's important to keep people educated.
And that one's a tiger shark, yeah.
Members of California State University's Shark Lab are taking their pop-up tent on tour to local beaches, dispelling shark myths.
Educating the young and teaching them about it, and safety too. I think it's really awesome. Yeah.
Meanwhile, wildlife experts are reporting an increase in great white sightings along the coast of Maine and Massachusetts, citing the rise in seal population as a driving factor. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Next, going to check out this year's Primetime Emmy Awards nominees. 2021 Primetime Emmy Awards nominees have been announced. Drama, comedy, sci-fi, fantasy series, and more are all recognized. We have a recap of shows up for those major TV honors. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Outstanding Drama Series.
From the royal throne to a galaxy far, far away, The Crown and The Mandalorian lead this year's Emmy nominations with 24 each. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is close behind, with a superpowered 23 nods for WandaVision.
Hey, Dad.
Nominees for TV's top prize were announced by Emmy-winning father and daughter duo Ron Cephas-Jones and Jasmine Cephas-Jones, recognizing gripping, feel-good, bingeable shows, which kept audiences entertained this past year during the pandemic.
The Crown.
The Crown and The Mandalorian are both up for Outstanding Drama Series. Also vying for that title are The Boys, Bridgerton, The Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, Pose, and This Is Us. Believe Ted Lasso scored a nod for Outstanding Comedy Series. It's up against Blackish, Cobra Kai, Emily in Paris, Hacks, The Flight Attendant, The Kaminsky Method, and Pen 15.
Next up,
limited or anthology series or movie contenders include WandaVision on Disney+, Amazon Prime's The Underground Railroad, Netflix's The Queen's Gambit, and HBO series I May Destroy You and Mayor of Easttown.
Are you gonna miss me?
The latter two HBO series are part of HBO's leading 130 nominations. Streaming giant Netflix follows with 129.
I will see you on the flip side too, Dad.
The Emmys were virtual last year due to COVID. This year it will be live on CBS, hosted by Cedric the Entertainer. The ceremony will also have a limited in-person audience when those winners are announced at the Microsoft Theater September 19th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of the world's deepest pool in Dubai, designed as a sunken city. Man, look at that. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.